Well, we did it. Lesson 25 is the last one. So analysis of variance is the last thing we're doing in Math 13x. Analysis of variance is a way to test the claim that three means are equal. Or you could even do 4 or 5 or 6. I'm going to do 3 basketball players. And first of all, the claim is that they all have the, there it is, sorry. I was looking at the wrong line. Test the claim they all have equal means. So the claim is that the average for player 1 equals the average for player 2 equals the average for player 3. And we've got Luka Doncic, Steph Curry, LeBron James. So the first thing I need to do is type this information into the list. That is going to be the hardest part of the whole thing. It takes a little bit of time, but once you do, the rest of it goes really fast. So you go to Stat and then Edit, and if there's stuff left over, make sure that you clear it out and then clear it out. And then you just start typing the first person's list, etc. Now it's going to be sort of tedious and boring to watch me type those numbers. So abracadabra, there they are. Oh, sorry, this calculator is sort of bright. Let me turn it down. Okay, so it wasn't a magic trick. It's 2 calculators. This one I typed in the information before I started the video. So you type in list 1, list 2, list 3. All right, next up, I need to write down for the 3 players what's their n, mean, and standard deviation. So if you just go to Stat, so we did this at the beginning of the semester quite a bit. It's been a little while. And then you move over to Calculate and do the 1 variable statistics. And just start with list 1. Luka. So this calculator is showing a whole bunch of decimals. I think I'm just going to use 3 decimals. So let me just go to the mode and then change this to 3 decimals. Put second quit and then do it again. Stat, calculate the 1 variable statistics for player number 1. So I chose 15 basketball games. And it's actually the same for all of them, 15 basketball games, so I can go ahead and put that. And then for Luka, it's an average of 32.467 points per game. And then the S equals the 7.661. All right, move on to list 2. Stat, calculate, 1 variable statistics, and then put second 2 for list 2. Go down to calculate, and for Steph, so again, it's 15 basketball games. His average for those games was 23.8. And the S is 6.847. And then for LeBron, so calculate the 1 variable statistics, put second 3, and then calculate. And that, sure enough, is also 15 basketball games. And he averaged 26.267. And S is equal to 7.564. All right, so if you look at these 3, you could see that Luka scores the most, LeBron is second, and Steph is third. And especially between these 2 players, that's a big difference. So I have a feeling that this claim is false and that Luka scores a lot more points, especially more than Steph, but even more than LeBron. So we're probably going to get reject. All right. Then the next thing to do is, this is called analysis of variance. Oh, sorry, that's not on the screen. This is called analysis of variance. So AN is analysis, O for of, variance is VA. So this is what it's called on the calculator also. So we've done the hard part. Now go to Stat Tests and go down to the bottom. Since this is the last section, we're using the very last test, ANOVA. So that is letter H, the ANOVA. And then it has a paren. So when you do that, it's just going to sit there on the home screen waiting for you. And you're like, hey buddy, what are you waiting for? Well, it needs to know list 1, list 2, list 3. So put second L1, and then you do need to put a comma in between. So right above the 7, comma, and then second L2 or second 2, and then comma, and then second 3 or L3. And then just close the paren. And so this gives us a lot of information, but there's only 3 things that you need. One is this capital F, that's the test statistic. And then there's 2 degrees of freedom. So ignore the words, but this one is degrees of freedom number 1, so this 2.0, and this is degrees of freedom number 2. So let me transfer that information. So we have degrees of freedom number 1, that's the first one, equals a 2. And degrees of freedom number 2, that is the 42. And this is a right tail test only. So we'll use 95% level of confidence, which means that this right tail is 0.05. And before I move this away, I'm going to write down the test statistic is a 5.512. So also the test statistic, that was capital F, equals a 5.512. All right, now I just need the critical value. So this comes from table A5 or the F distribution. And right next to where I posted this video, I put a copy of the F distribution here. And so again, like the last couple of videos, this is not in the calculator, so we do need to use the piece of paper. So notice that it has the right tail, and that says 0.05, so that's good, just like our picture. And then degrees of freedom number 1 are these numbers on the top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And our degrees of freedom number 1 is a 2, so we're going to be using this column right here. And then degrees of freedom number 2 is a 42, and you find that along the side. So this one, degrees of freedom number 1 was a 2, so that means we use this column. And then on this side, you find the 42. And whenever they don't have what you're looking for, you use the closest that they have. So I was looking for a 42, but they don't have a 42. The closest they have is 40. So that means I use this row right here. And according to this, I'm using this column. And then where did the 2 meet? So the 2 meet right here. And I don't know if you can see it, but it says 3.2317. So it says 3.2317. So that's the critical value. So the critical value is 3.2317. So anything that goes past a 3.2 is considered unusual. This 5.5 definitely goes past the 3.2317. That means that my claim is false. So when it goes past, that means the claim is false. And so basically what I was pointing out earlier, that Luka scores a lot more points than Steph and LeBron. Yep, that's what we're proving now. One player is definitely better than the others. So Luka is better at points per game, because this was only about points per game, not rebounds or anything else. So he's better at points per game. All right, that's the last one. Bye.